I'll give you a clue. It was Grimsby.
They are pressing quite well. What's happened there? You've got to be joking.
Oh, sorry, no, I've done it the wrong way around. I've drawn an arrow and I haven't seen it. Sorry.
He must have a horseshoe up his arse.
If we're playing on professional and that's happening for Barcelona,
2 years ago. Sorry about that. I don't know what that was.
I'm sorry, that's just put me off the game. I'm not having that.
Anyway, segue, moving on.
What has that got to do with football? Why is that at a football ground?
Hello and welcome to a new season of Rambling from the Honest Football Podcast. I'm Craig Savage. With me every week for the whole season is Daniel Cody and Charlie Betts.
Are you committing to not missing one?
On today's show, we look at the Championship's opening fixtures, the EFL Trophy sponsorship debacle, Charlie's Tales of the Unexpected, any other business, and our brand new quiz.
So, as it's the first show of the new season, how's your summer been?
Very interesting. From a football perspective, Craig, I assume you're asking. Not that I went to Edinburgh.
And
this
aside
weekend.
from the 7 or 8 summer episodes we did, I'm
Yeah, I went there for the African Cup of Nations.
My summer holiday, I went to Edinburgh. My brother-in-law lives up there. Got nothing to do with football, this, but I just wanted to share this very, very quickly. If you're not aware, that during that month of August in Edinburgh, they have the Fringe Festival, like comedy, music, dance, etc.
Not hair.
Sorry?
Not hair.
Hair?
Hair fringe.
Oh, no, not fringe. Fucking hell.
Stars, you're meant to go on it.
But I won't bore you with all of it, and I know that when comedians tell jokes it is better, but I went to see a one-liner comedian, and my favourite joke of the whole thing was, are you ready for this? What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? Hippos are quite heavy, but a zippo is a little lighter.
That was almost as bad as Craig's.
But yeah, no, so that was...
Someone does that as a living.
I know.
I thought that was brilliant, though. But anyway, so that was my summer. But yeah, from a football perspective, I would like to say, actually, about being too big-headed about the whole thing, that we come out with a bit of credibility out of this summer in terms of African Cup of Nations predictions, the
Football rule
IFAB
changes, yeah.
I mean, that IFAB, obviously one of our better videos, obviously, even though at the time I thought it was an absolute car crash of a video. But anyway, we one of our predictions was about the stupid goal kick change that they made.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who was it did it recently? It was in a friend.
Atletico?
Anyway, the whole point being is that a defender now can enter the 18-yard box, but an outfield player can't, can they? For a goal kick.
I'll tell you who it was, Benfica.
Benfica, sorry.
Yes.
So we predicted that what's going to happen eventually is obviously the ball's on the floor, goalkeeper will just chip it up to the defender, he'll nod it back into his hands, suddenly the goalkeeper can then run forwards and do whatever he wants with it. The example that actually happened recently didn't go swimmingly well, because although the keeper caught it, he then gave the ball away straight after.
But it is what they attempted.
But it's the principle, and I honestly, without getting on the high horse of all of this again, I do think if this sort of thing catches on, the goal kick will disappear. It will literally be ball goes out for a goal kick, play from your hands, keeper. Because everyone's going to do it anyway.
Out.
Well, there's nothing stopping you doing that anyway. But we're going over the old video.
And obviously, the AFCON one you mentioned, the only prediction we probably didn't get right was Tunisia.
Yes,
but they didn't actually win a game, did they?
No, they did not.
got to the
No, and they were at that game against Ghana. Now, I know I was slightly biased, I wanted Ghana to win, but even from a neutral perspective, the shithousery of that game for the last 20 minutes of
You weren't happy, were
normal
you?
time. I mean, Ghana scored possibly the worst own goal I've ever seen. But anyway, I think it was in the 95th minute or something. But prior to that, the shithousery was absolutely of a brand new scale that I've never seen before.
And more importantly,
and I'm glad that they didn't win it.
Sorry, we took a bit of stick, particularly from you, Craig, once you'd heard the episode about Madagascar.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, no.
And they were a revelation.
I did say before the tournament I wasn't going to watch this tournament, but obviously I was quite bored at home. But some of the standard of football was atrocious. But
some cracking games.
But
it was a mix of
for an underdog story.
Yes.
Madagascar were
But
fantastic.
what annoyed me, without going into too much of a thing, if you did like a cross section of Twitter just after Madagascar got through the last 16 against, it escapes me, but whoever it was anyway, the whole of the football world seemed to love them, and yet we seemed to be at one point like the only voice of reason. It was like, no, they're not a bad team, you know. Yeah. Everyone was caning them. Oh, plucky Madagascar, they'll give it a go. They were so much better than that, and for that, I think we need to take a lot of credit for it.
I completely agree. But let's move a little closer to home.
Yes.
One other thing that's changed during the summer is that the team that we quite often slated Craig for working at last season has a new colleague, a new coach.
Yes.
Who might that be, Charlie Betts?
Well, Craig and I have decided to link up.
The team is back together.
So Craig is the gaffer.
Thankfully, this time it's off the pitch, because God, last time we played centre half together, we don't want to see that.
If you're not sure, listen back to our Sunday league. But yeah, so Craig, you're the gaffer. I'm
Joint
your
gaffer. Sorry, Rick.
Well,
Joint
yeah,
gaffer.
you're Craig, you're the gaffer.
You're part of the management team, and Charlie isn't.
I'm your coach. But yeah, there's been some.
It's been some good.
I would like to. Hopefully, we'll see once we get a bit more of the season under our belt. It would be nice to do like a grassroots sort of special, because I think there's a lot. There's one thing being a grassroots player, and I've sort of coached with other grassroots teams, but seeing it when you're like running as a reserve team, there's a certain dynamic to that. I mean, trying to do a coaching session with, like, at one point we had 50 odd lads and a cricket match going on. Yeah, literally a cricket match in the middle of our training pitch.
It's a problem that's rarely talked about for Sunday League and Saturday League teams in the summer, amateur teams, is the impact that cricket has. Because normally most local parks or facilities owned by the council will just get a big cricket match.
It's not just that. It's obviously more teams, there's obviously more 3G pitches around.
Yeah.
And then hiring one for a certain amount of time is just as hard.
And in the summer, it's not realistic.
Exactly, and one 3G pitch decides to triple the price for some random reason.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
What's not helped us is that
you don't need it.
The thing is as well is the club that we're involved with. So we're involved with reserves, but for the first few sessions of pre-season, Craig and I pretty much did the first team and the reserves. Then that was fine because that was on the grass and there was less ball work. Well, if at all. But now the team we're involved in has a very large youth setup, which is fantastic. But the problem is you've got one AstroTurf between essentially maybe 4 adult teams, including Sundays.
You've got 5 adult teams.
5 adult teams.
And an under 18s.
Under 18s. And then there's an under 17s, 16. Yeah. Try and hire out one pitch between that. So there was a situation on Thursday where there was literally 6 teams trying to train. Luckily, me and Craig are organised enough that we get there at 6:30 and set up. But in fairness, I put out about 95 cones on.
You did
on Thursday.
I've heard that's your best skill is putting out cones.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Well, I need it. I need the 9 boxes. I need the pitch divided into 9 boxes to talk about the whole.
And you've got to practice your straight lines for your new job.
Well, that's the thing. No, but I needed.
You've got to teach symmetry in a month.
Well, I needed 9 boxes for like the whole 2/3 pressing scenario. But the problem was that I put all of them out, and then the first team turned up at 5 to 7, which I mean, considering they're semi-professional footballers, is worrying. But anyway. And they were like, "Oh, where are we going to train?" And I was like, I can move the cones if you want, but I sort of did a bit of a guilt trip on them. So then they ended up having a third of an AstroTurf pitch, and I don't want to say it's our fault, but they haven't won the first 2 games, and that could be down to the fact they couldn't train properly on Thursday.
I think that might be, and it's not my place to say. Turned up 5 minutes before and failing to prepare.
Well, yeah, but there you go. So no, it's an interesting.
But I'm looking forward to seeing how the relationship blossoms, and when Luton aren't at home or I'm not going to an away game, I will try and come and watch a few to see just how your tactical masterclass is coming together, and I will feedback on the podcast.
And now it's time for an all-new Ramble of the Week. Football season's back, and Cody, you went to the first game of the season on Friday night, Luton Town versus Middlesbrough at Kenilworth Road.
And what a game it was.
It was fantastic.
I think that my beloved Luton Town have probably gained a few neutral fans from Friday night.
Yes, they have. And
so I wanted to talk a bit more on Luton's one, a bit more about some of the teething problems of growing quickly as a club. Yeah.
I've seen the picture of this. This is brilliant.
So I did send you both the picture.
Yes.
It was quite amusing. Obviously, perhaps for those who have got a season ticket for the first time, sitting on the front row and pay 30 quid, maybe not so much. However, Luton, as a result of going up to the championships, have decided to make a little bit of extra revenue, and I think it might be a requirement.
I think it's a requirement. It's cost them £1 million
to install. I think part of that was the gantry as well.
Most of it was.
But they have to put LED boards behind all of the stands that will be visible for TV games, which are the 3 you obviously saw on Friday night.
Going about the TV gantry, I'd rather just keep it the whole season.
It looked fantastic.
It
looked so much bigger.
And exactly, it looked a lot bigger. And do you know what I would love to happen? And because this happened to me when I went to watch Ballymena versus Crusaders, is where their ground is. They've only got the 3 stands. So the camera is where there's obviously no stand. I just assumed the ground went all the way down and got a huge shock when I walked in. And I'm hoping there's fans who've never seen Kenilworth Road on TV before, who get to the ground and then get this massive shock that suddenly they've just got the director's boxes.
I'm sure they used to do that at Plymouth before as well, when they used to only have 3 decent stands. But anyway, the point being that they had to put electronic LED advertising hoardings around the 3 stands. So the slight problem with that is because Luton Town obviously have come from League 2 in 2 years, they were in the National League 5 years ago, and haven't been in Championship for 12 years, when those things weren't such a requirement, is they didn't really have the experience of where to put them and how to manage them. So they put them about halfway on the AstroTurf between the stand and the pitch, or the grass style.
Oh yeah, because I had I went to the game for the pre-season game against Norwich, and I looked down at the front.
Yes.
And also you got all the wires in between the old advertising boards and the LED ones.
So in terms of one thing, it's great. You could not invade that pitch if you wanted to.
No, that's
because
what
that would pull anyone's hamstring and going to get over there.
But I did. I remember Luton did. Leave a tweet or something and say there is problems with the LED boards. Obviously they will be fixed for their next home game.
And they also left lovely stickers on the back of the boards, which was great. So obviously I sit in the front row with my season ticket, and it's just where there's a bit of a gap in the stand and like one of the, I guess, fire exit bits.
Yeah.
And there was a lovely situation where, a bit like that second goal with the howler, you couldn't see the first 6 yards of the pitch sitting down because the board was too high above your head.
Yeah.
Well, not above your head, but you know what I mean. So you couldn't see down.
Eye level.
Yes. That's the word I was looking for. So it was beneficial that I missed the howler that led to the second goal for a keeper who otherwise had a brilliant game.
He did that play.
And they also had little sticky notes on the back of them to say, "We apologise if you can't see through this. We'll have this fixed for the next game."
See, they knew. They knew.
Which
they
I
did
thought
say
was nice.
there was a lot of restricted view.
So could you see the opposite goal, or was it that?
Oh no! I mean, if it affected the vision for the 4 yards closest to you at best.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
but it's still enough though. Like,
a tiny bit, but not too much.
Got to say, great advert for Luton Town. Even Borough, I know that maybe shipped 3 goals, but under Jonathan Woodgate, exciting at least.
And
it was
open.
generally
It was a very
both
very
sides
open
went
game.
for it. A team that are expected to be at the top, you could forgive them for coming and just making sure they were solid the first day. Didn't concede anything. The manager didn't lose in his first occasion, and the same for Luton at home. Just trying to get a result, just being a bit more defensive, losing a star fullbacks who used to fly forward all year. But both teams just went at it, and it was absolutely fantastic to watch. It was a joy to go to and see.
2 fantastic goals as well. One from Sonny Bradley.
One from each team. A great first goal for the club for Bradley, and I'm sure Luton have gained a lot of fans from it.
Yeah, obviously the second goal was Lewis Wing's curler.
Oh, it's a fantastic
You
goal.
don't save those. But obviously the howler, I think that game just had everything. Like from normally had like one bit like for the whole season, but in the first game for the whole EFL, it had everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, Weldy,
a
centre back.
Should have been a penalty.
Should have been a penalty.
Then there was a penalty.
There wasn't a penalty because it was outside the box. 2 top corners, a howler from the goalkeeper, and a penalty missed.
I think that's why, without going over old ground, that's why we don't talk about the Premier League now. Because I don't. Is it Liverpool and I can't remember. It is on
Liverpool
Friday.
Norwich on Friday.
I don't think you're going to get the same drama. I mean, Norwich are quite an exciting team actually. I can
Do you
know what I mean? That sort of thing. I think that's why
the only
lower league
drama-
football in the UK is so much better.
I think the only drama you're going to probably have for the first game of the Premier League season is VAR.
Well, yeah. But I think it's a brilliant advert for the league.
But one of the other things I wanted to talk about in the Championship was just how much of an exciting first weekend it was.
Yeah.
So
I think we all did the predictions, and you can watch that.
Which, by the way, if the predictions were based on the first day of the season, I did worse than what I did last year already.
I think I did do well as well.
I'm not doing great.
Apart from Leeds.
One of the teams I had to go up lost to one of the teams I had to go down. But aside from that, it was all good. But one of the things I would talk about in the league is how close a lot of the games were, how exciting a lot of them were, and how many goals there were. So none of the games had a score margin of more than 2 goals, which meant that there was plenty of competition in there, even from sides that perhaps shouldn't have produced such good performances. Likely Birmingham City away at Brentford. How they won that game, I will never ever be able to tell
I
you.
did see a brilliant tweet.
What a great goal, by the way.
I did see a brilliant tweet though, and it was like number of shots of in the opening day of the season. And Birmingham City were bottom with one. They had one shot.
And that was the greatest header
It was
I've
a header
ever
from
seen.
the edge of the box. But I mean, I don't often praise pundits on TV. Clinton Morrison was watching that game on Soccer Saturday, and he summed it up perfectly. He was absolutely speechless, and he was a joy to watch. And he's become my favourite pundit as a result of that.
Yeah.
But some real surprises, obviously. None of us predicted any of the promoted sides to go up, the relegated sides to go back up, and they all lost on the opening weekend.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one.
We obviously, Cardiff was probably the shock out of those, where I'll be heading in a couple of days' time with Craig Savage.
Yes.
A wounded Cardiff could be a dangerous one for Luton, couldn't it?
But I just thought it was a fantastic advert for the league. Goals in every game, no 0-0 draws. In fact, were there any draws at all?
Yeah, Luton
One,
Middlesbrough.
just a Luton one. But aside from that, on Saturday,
Saturday, no.
So an absolutely fantastic advert. It means we're stuck perfectly in mid-table where I'd like to end the season.
And Luton were top of the table for at least 24 hours. or 12 hours.
On alphabetical reasons. But a fantastic start and just proving why it's the most competitive league.
It's definitely the best league in the world.
Just really quickly, while we're in the Championship, I was going to save this for later on, but it is linked to Championship teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard from Lee Johnson, obviously the Bristol City.
Yes,
player.
I saw this earlier. And
Bristol City, who of course will get promoted this year.
Well, basically, he's saying that
Any player
given
can
the
do
debacle of last year and the whole league,
Villa,
what he's saying is unless it's a head injury, if a player, he's instructed his players and has written to the other 23 Championship teams that if a player goes down and it's not a head injury, we're going to play on.
Which is fine.
Which I was going to say,
it's the referee's job.
It's the referee, exactly. Basically, Bristol haven't broken any rules. It's actually perfect with the laws at the moment. But this is where, obviously, it could bite him in the arse. Where a Bristol City player could be come down, and then they lose the ball and they're through and goal.
But if we done with integrity, I think that's the difference.
I want to look at this the other way, which is he's given them plenty of warning, which is fine by my book. And if every single manager in the league did that, it would soon stop players going down without an injury. Because if they knew the game was going to continue, they'd get back up. And the referee would then know if there's a genuine injury, I've got to stop the game. And surely that's all we ask for.
I think if Bielsa said that, I think everyone would be going mad.
Yeah, I could see your point. I think there's maybe certain people who get away with saying that or doing that. I think, like you say, maybe Bielsa or someone would get a bit of a pasting from the media and whatever for doing that. But
we can find out on obviously after.
Yeah, well that's why, because they're playing on Sunday.
No, they're playing Saturday.
Oh, is it Saturday?
Yeah, they're playing Birmingham away at St Andrews, so that'll be interesting to see if any player goes down.
Wonder if Birmingham will get another shot on this weekend.
Now, a few weeks ago, myself, Charlie, and Daniel, we did cup predictions from the FA Cup, Champions League, Europa League,
FA
Trophy,
League
Carabao Cup,
finally,
and the Checkatrade Trophy. However, a few days later, when we posted the video up on the cup predictions, the EFL have decided to change the name of the sponsor to leasing.com.
And not only have they called it
leasing.com,
the Leasing Trophy or whatever, it's the leasing.com.
That's
the annoyance.
Yeah.
Now, we look silly for voting Checkatrade.
I think that's the least of our worries. I think EFL look a bit silly at
I don't
honestly
think. I mean, there's nothing wrong with. Okay, they have to obviously sell everything. Any millimetre of space now has to be sold. I get that, but even if you're selling it to a company like leasing.com, do you have to put their name on the actual trophy, or can you call it something else? I don't. Do you know? I think it is a ridiculous sponsorship. I'm sure there's been odd ones throughout the years, but still.
I've got a list for the.
I'm looking forward to this bit. You've teased this, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I've graded them from obviously A plus to F.
So can I ask? You've got 6 names there.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's more than that. It's about 9.
9. Okay, sorry. I went on 8.
Go for it.
So what I want you to do...
I'll go by order, obviously, when it first started.
You're going to give us your grades, and we're going to tell you how badly we disagree.
Or you can give your own grades as well.
I mean, if the top 2 aren't the ones I've got in my head, we're done.
There seems to be a reoccurring theme for most of them, but I'll tell you, right. Okay. So it started in 1984 to 85 seasons, to 86-87, and it was the Freight Rover Trophy.
Yeah.
I gave it a C grade.
It's not great. Freight Rover, as in
freight, as in freight,
big lorries and stuff.
Solid start. Solid start. Could be worse.
D+. I don't like the fact they had Rover. Freight Trophy.
There's someone in the middle. We're all happy with it.
Okay. The second one obviously was from 87 to 88 season to 88-89 season, and it was the Sherpa Van.
What we have to address is that, in fairness, it is a lower,
it's a lower league cup.
So you aren't expecting a big glitzy glamour of like Gazprom or something like that. I do quite appreciate a fairly low down like Gibbs and Dandy.
Nice that you go straight to Eastern Oil for your big names.
No, but do you know what I mean? The point being is that I quite like a low key sponsor.
I'm not a fan of that one though.
What was it? Say again.
The Sherpa Van.
I like
Sherpa
going back to the 80s,
Trophy.
White Van Man. I'm going to go C for that.
I'm going to give it a B.
A B.
I'm going to give it a D.
I'll give it a D. Sherpa Van.
Sherpa though, isn't that dog? No.
Is
that someone who...
Let's not try and express our...
What happened after that?
Right, so 89-90 to 91-92 season, it was the Leyland DAF Cup.
I mean, Leyland was a van again. I mean, there's
Leyland was a car, wasn't it?
Leyland was a car.
Well, Leyland was a car, which
Leyland's vans.
Solid. C.
C, yeah.
C for you. I've given it a rating of C as well.
Right, yeah. So it's middle of the road. I like that. Excuse the pun.
I can only apologise for the state of some of these puns and jokes.
Don't say words,
We're
a bit rusty.
92, 93 to 93, 94, it was the Autoglass Trophy.
See, I love that. That for me, brilliant.
They were, when I was growing up, I remember them being Chelsea
sponsor, yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go A for that. I think that Autoglass, brilliant. It's a brilliant.
A for Charlie.
B for me, and it's third place of my sponsors.
I've also given it a B.
I think that's top notch.
And then there's a bit of a gap. 94-95 to 99-2000 season. It was the Auto Windscreens Trophy.
Fantastic.
That is a good one. I think I prefer Auto Glass.
Sorry, it's not Auto Windscreens Trophy. It's the Auto Windscreens Shield.
Yes, it was. I'm going to give that a B as well. That's my second favourite.
B, I'll go.
I'm giving it an A.
Auto Glass.
Auto Windscreens. I just remember Barry Fry. Auto Windscreens.
Yeah.
So from 2000-2001 season to 06-07, it's the LDV Vans Trophy.
Which is without doubt the
Yeah,
best one that's ever been.
Yeah.
The LDV Vans Trophy, it was a symbol of my childhood.
Because you just play it on FIFA.
I was 6 years old and I was talking, or 7 years old, wishing my years away there, talking about the LDV Vans. I mean, you don't get that many walks away.
I'll go
A
B+.
plus.
B+.
A plus.
I'm giving it a B.
Right.
That's the genius in the room. That one's going to be a doctor.
Right, so from 07-08 to 15-16 was the Johnson's Paint Trophy.
That's top notch.
That's A plus for me. Johnson's Paint.
Johnson's Paint.
I know
And that's just because I held the trophy.
But it's because you could acronym it, JPT. I think that's
JPT.
why I liked it.
That
That's
was
easy.
great. And it's lovely
Not
that
the
Luton won
AW
it, but I'm not happy.
Why?
You're not happy?
No, I'm not happy with Johnston Paint.
Why?
That's C for me.
Really?
Yeah, just a bit of a mouthful, not a big fan.
JPT, that's where you
No.
it.
And then what happened after that?
And then obviously the previous sponsorship of Checker Trade from 16-17 season to obviously last season.
Obviously they butchered the trophy at the same time.
I gave it a D.
Oh, no matter what sponsor it was, the fact that it was, I was going to say E because it was, it's attached to that abomination that is that trophy now. Yeah, E, definitely.
And so obviously we're going from this season now, that was leasing.com. What would you give that grade? F?
That's a Z. It's
Z?
It's at leasing.com. It doesn't tell you what it's leasing. Am I leasing a car, a house, what?
Let's go for you, ungraded.
Yeah.
I found out about it and it is a car.
But you don't know that. At least...
Because according to the Twitter, the EFL and leasing.com have today announced a 3-year deal that will see the leading new car marketplace become the official title sponsor.
If you say it quick enough, it sounds like you're saying Lisa.com. It sounds like a woman sponsoring it.
That's...
No, there's anything wrong with a woman sponsoring it, but I just don't think it's got great advertisement for it, you know? Lisa.com. That's what it sounds like if you say it quick enough.
That sounds like a dirty porno now. That sounds so wrong, Charlie.
To recap. My favourite one, Auto Glass.
JPT.
LDV Vans Trophy. I tell you, we can put that to a vote on Twitter. What was the best?
We'll do a vote on Twitter.
We'll do a
What's
vote.
the best EFL trophy?
I think
And they'll probably go for one of the others.
Yeah. We'd have to give the other option, yeah.
We have to give all 9.
But on a serious note, I think in a few weeks, hopefully, we'll have some sort of episode about actually A, how shit the current competition is, and B, how we would save it from the.
And I know we don't have many listeners, but if when we put that vote out, you vote for leasing.com trophy, don't ever listen to our podcast again.
And it's now time for Charlie's Tales of the Unexpected. So,
this is a new feature that myself and Craig haven't heard, and we apologise in advance.
This could be as rare as Rocking Horse shit, because this could be the only episode that ever features it, depending on what the reception for this is. But I have done a bit of research on some unexpected, some strange stuff that's happened in football, all the way back from the 1800s, which is where we're going today, through to the present day. Of just some random stuff that has happened in football. Some of it has actually informed the way that our game looks today, which is where we're starting today. So, I'm going to take you back to Burnley in December 1891, okay? And the Lancashire derby between Burnley and Blackburn.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I'm getting you back here is this informs actually what some of our game looks like today. And it's because of this very match that we have some rules, which I'll talk about at the end, in place for. You're looking confused, Craig. Just go with it, okay?
That's normal, Charlie.
Yeah, so... what happened was, there was heavy snow in December of the winter of 1891, okay?
Snow in December?
It was snow in December, believe it or not. So, Blackburn versus Burnley at Turf Moor. Blackburn really didn't fancy the game, wanted the game to be called off, badgering the referee constantly before the game, let's not play it, run up to Christmas, all of that, even in the 1890s like this. Obviously, in these days as well, football grounds were hoarded with people because there was no seats, it was just, around that sort of time. Blackburn basically, within the first 25 minutes, went 3-0 down. Just, they weren't interested in playing whatsoever. Blackburn were a professional team at the time. Burnley were mainly amateurs with a couple of professional players in there. Obviously, as you expect for a local derby, particularly the way football was played back then, lots of violent tackles. You could pretty much throw the goalkeeper in the net and it wasn't a foul, that sort of thing. But at half-time, Blackpool, even Blackpool. Half time, sorry.
It's a 3-word tense.
Burnley 3, Blackburn 0. Temperatures dropped a little bit. What happens at half time? Obviously, only 10 minutes in those days. Referee blows his whistle. Burnley come out onto the pitch. Nothing wrong with that. Blackburn stayed in the changing room, not coming out. So the referee said, right, you've got 2 minutes to get out there or I start the game. So Blackburn, slowly in dribs and drabs, decided to come out. 2-3 players at a time. Burnley raced into a 4-0 lead quite early on because Blackburn still hadn't sent all their players out because it was too cold for them. What happened was, after about 5 minutes of the second half, there was a scuffle on the pitch. 1 Burnley player got sent off. 2 Blackburn players got sent off.
1 Black Burnley player.
No, 1. I said Blackburn and Burn. There's too many Burns in this story. But yeah, so Blackburn thought that their 2 players were sent off unjustly. So in a protest, what they did was they then walked their whole team off of the pitch. Okay. So apart from one man, Herbie Arthur, who happened to be the goalkeeper.
Okay.
Blackburn goalkeeper. Now, he's got an interesting story if you've got a 30 seconds spare for me to tell you. So he started out as an outfield player, as a right half, which is somewhere near the back line. Obviously, the formations are very, very different then. But he played as a right half for Blackburn out on pitch. He played in the team. They basically got to won 3 FA Cup finals in a row. He played out on pitch in the first one, but the following season, which is this season now, so 1891-92, the reserve team had a match and their goalkeeper came down ill. So he said, you know what, I'll go and goal, even though he's one of the senior sort of players for the first team, I'll go and goal. Had the game of his life, kept a clean sheet, played in goal ever since. Then played in goal while Blackburn got to the following 2 FA Cup finals and they won. Ended up being an England international and played 7 times for England, which is fascinating in itself, the fact that he was an outfield player, hadn't played in goal properly before, ended up being a double FA Cup winning goalkeeper and England international. Anyway, because of his pride and the fact that he was the only amateur in the Blackburn team, he decided he was going to stay out. And this is where it gets interesting. So, he was the only player on the pitch, and because he wouldn't leave, obviously the game still went ahead. In those days, there was no minimum number of players on the pitch.
I see where this is going, yeah.
The problem was, obviously, the offside rule was different in those days, and this Herbie Arthur was very clever. Any time that Burnley crossed the halfway line, they were offside, because this was before the days of interfering. This is when, obviously, as long as you were closer to the goal than 2 players, you would have been offside. The problem was there was only 1 Blackburn player on the pitch the whole time. So they played out half an hour of every time crossing the halfway line, free kick. Herbie would kick it into the other half. They'd cross over the halfway line. Even just by touching the ball into the opponent's half, they were offside. Even you'd have to make a pass in those days. You know, back in the 90s, it was still like that, wasn't it? So that was the offside rule, obviously coming into play. After half an hour, the referee called a day and said, "Look, this is ridiculous." There was only 5 minutes left. Why he didn't wait for the other 5 minutes? Abandoned the game, and then basically Blackburn apologised the next day, saying that they had. Yeah, they were numb with cold and they didn't agree with the refereeing, etc. But the story of the whole thing was that Herbie Arthur, then off the back of that game, the FA decided to write in that you need to have a minimum, I think it started at 5, and then now we're up to 7. You have to have a minimum of number of players on the pitch. Because at the time it wasn't written in, so in theory, there was nothing wrong with the referee playing the game with 11 against 1. And that is the story of Herbie Arthur and the one-man team.
And now it's time for any other business. Who wants to start off with any other business?
Well, on the theme earlier on, we were saying about how we predicted stuff and, got it right. There was 2 stories this week that I feel like we were at the beginning of, and I don't want to say it was because of us, but I feel like there's been a blossoming of some stories that we did earlier on in the year.
You feel a part of it.
Well, one of them being Fort William, which went massive, didn't it?
Brilliant documentary.
I mean, the documentary was fantastic. I remember you saying a while back that Loki Doki, and all of that, the backing on that. But we covered that ages ago, and I'm not blowing sunshine up our backsides, but we didn't get any credit for it in the documentary. But it's, but no, I think it was a fantastic story, and obviously they actually won, didn't they? The week that the documentary went out, which is incredible. And the other one was Anisadu. I don't know. I know we mentioned them loads and loads last year. Now they've gone viral. I don't know if you've seen this, but they've signed a new Polish player who apparently doesn't speak any English. I won't ruin it, but go and watch it.
Go on Anisadu Welfare's Twitter. It's fantastic.
He doesn't speak any English, but he belts out an incredible rendition of Bon Jovi. But anyway, so that was a couple from there. But yeah, I don't know if you've got anything else. Or...
I wanted to talk about a transfer now. Because obviously we're recording this a day before transfer deadline day for the Premier League and Championship.
And Man United still haven't signed anyone appropriately, but moving on.
Well, thankfully, we don't have to worry about the Premier League. One of the things that quite often happens, and it's absolutely loaded, and Sky Sports News, as much as it's great for content usually, is probably the most guilty of it. It's just battling out the same bollocks transfer rumours all the time. And you go through like the BBC feed, the Sky Sports feed, the BT, they're all the same, and it's just the same crap.
And then you get fake ones on Twitter.
Exactly, and then they get loads of traction. They go on the yellow ticker on Sky Sports News, and then it never happened. But what I wanted to do is talk about a transfer that's happened, a more obscure one, and it is my favourite transfer of the window.
Okay. You've hooked me.
So it involves a player, that has been playing in the Premier League up until last season. I say playing loosely, has been in the squad at the Premier League, and he has moved to fairly far afield in Europe to a slightly smaller league. And although it doesn't involve any of my previous fees, such as sausage meat and things like that, it's a standard transfer, a free agent deal, and that player, Craig, because I can see you looking puzzled, is 33-year-old. Former Crystal Palace midfielder Jason Puncheon.
Jason Puncheon, he's going to say
who has gone to Cypriot side Paphos FC.
Cyprus.
Yes. And the club have heralded him. The club have heralded him as the greatest transfer in their history. And we talk about some of like the big money things, like you've just mentioned it there as a perfect example. United haven't signed anyone apart from like £80 million centre halves and things like that. This is a player who probably has had his prime years, has had a couple of difficult spells off the pitch in recent years. And to see a club maybe a little bit further down the food chain in terms of European football, to be able to celebrate a player coming, like we see it in China and the US all the time, for them to be able to celebrate their greatest ever transfer, and it's little Jason Puncheon. I mean, it's just a great story, isn't it?
Why is he gone to... He's only 33 though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's such an odd move, isn't it?
Cyprus is quite nice.
I mean, it's nice, but...
I can read you in detail his statement.
Give me the extract.
I've got it in full. No, I don't need to give you an extract. I've got it in full. He said, I am honoured to be joining Paphos FC. I believe the club has big potential and I am happy to become a part of the team and will work hard to bring Paphos to new successes. That is not an extract, that is the full statement.
The standard.
That might suggest to me there's a little bit of money involved. But I guess the Cypriot side, are they going to be able to pay more?
Nice holiday.
Or is it just a nice time by a Cypriot seaside? I haven't checked whereabouts the country it is, but...
Still though, I think
at
33, if he's nearing 40, maybe 33, that's ridiculous.
But he hasn't been playing much in the Premier League, and I just thought it was a really niche and fantastic transfer this summer, and it was one that just got to my heartstrings.
Fair enough.
Speaking of heartstrings, Alex Schlott's going to be on Strictly Come Dancing.
Oh,
no, I'm joking.
Give up, Craig!
I'm joking.
Stop going about
Craig
Alex Scott.
might miss a few podcasts in the next 3 months, despite saying all season at the start.
No, obviously, we had the Women's World Cup in the summer.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, a female referee will be contesting the Super Cup between Liverpool and Chelsea. So she's going to referee it. Stephanie Frappart.
Sorry?
Stephanie Frappart.
Frappart, okay, yeah, that's what I said, but go on.
Yeah, thank you. She's going to be refereeing the...
French referee?
French referee, yeah. So, congratulations. The
first thing I said, I don't really know, I don't watch the French league, is there's a referee in the Bundesliga, a German referee, female referee. By far the best referee in that league, genuinely. Yeah. And I really hope she gets one.
I think she refereed the World Cup final as well, Stephanie Frappart. So
did she?
She did.
Brilliant year, so good. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Hopefully they can let her do her job and be a referee and not use sexist terms, and football will be the winner.
Football will be the winner, because as we said countless times last season, football is for everyone.
Yes.
However, what football might not be for...
I think Craig forgot what you said last time.
I forgot.
Because he carried on saying football is the winner.
I've got football every week.
Football is for everyone, Craig.
Oh,
however,
it's been a long time.
One team football might not be for is Bangor in Wales, which from
good segue.
It wasn't that bad one, that one.
Yeah.
You might know a little bit more about it than me, but in a nutshell, it seems to be going all completely doolally that they're owned by someone who's probably not a very reputable football manager, a football club owner. They've been deducted 21 points already, haven't they? They've now had their games...
They were demoted the year before as well.
Yeah, so they're now in the Cymru North, which can have a knock-on effect of if they then knocked out, it means that Holywell, who got relegated from that league, then stay up. But Holywell can't play their game this Saturday because they don't know if Bangor are going to be...
See, this is the problem for me, because... And it's not just... obviously, not just the Welsh League. Obviously, we've got it in the EFL
with Bury, which we're deliberately avoiding.
It's a fucking joke, by the way, the EFL.
Okay, looks like we're not avoiding that anymore.
No.
But Bangor, I mean, talk about
it's always it seems to be like in the pyramid thing. So if one thing don't go, this thing don't go. If one thing don't, other thing don't. This is not happen. And I think during the Welsh League has started now. Right?
It started this weekend.
So now the players are not and everyone's cheering up. Oh right, we know it's going to be on the 10th of August. First game of the season with pens to the diary in. No, we can't fucking do that anymore because the Welsh FA.
You're talking about. Go on, you go.
It's a bit like the Aldershot thing we mentioned in the prediction show. And the reason we predicted them all to go down from the National League in England because they were preparing for life in the South. They'd released players because they presumed they were getting relegated.
Yeah.
They'd signed players to prepare for the league below. It's a completely different demographic of player. And then suddenly you get told at 3 days' notice that you're moving up a league. Bangor are them, or used to have until a few years ago, the biggest following of any side in Welsh football.
Yeah.
They're a huge club. It doesn't benefit. They're a huge club in terms of the Welsh league.
Yeah,
It doesn't benefit anyone for them to be demoted. It happened before with Llanelli in Wales, who have just made it back up to the top tier. It's just... there seems to be something really wrong at the
moment. They were initially deducted 42 points.
Yes.
And then it got
that was the end of last season, wasn't it?
Yeah. But now it's another 21 points now. They've recently been found to have fielded an eligible player. So that's been on top of it.
I'm not being
there was
funny.
a Phoenix club coming out of it, starting in the 5th tier, but...
Why still haven't... I know it's like... I'm going to be on both sides of it, but why still haven't if they're going to be deducted all these points? I know it's not fair on the fans, and if they're going to create a Phoenix club, fine. But what's the point?
I think the point for me is this should have been resolved long before
back in
the
May.
beginning of August.
And this is the point with the Welsh FA though. I completely agree with you. We don't want a club to die, and we don't want a club to be incorrectly put out of business because of one stupid owner. But the Welsh FA make a decision either way, so it doesn't affect every other team as well. And the decision should be to either sort the owner out of the club. You are the Welsh FA, you know. I know there's only so much you can do, but a bit like in the EFL, we're supposed to have a fit and proper persons test. Not that that's what
the thing is, sorry, just really interrupt. Just the reason it's not done even more is that they've got up to 7 days to appeal after the judgment, meaning that any games in that time, not obviously just them, the 2 other teams who were relegated. Then can
so that's two divisions that are...
Well, yeah, basically 3 teams can't play until this gets resolved. It's Bangor who obviously have committed these offences, but the 2 teams who would have either been promoted or relegated, depending on where they finished.
So technically, that's what, 6 teams?
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. So they can't play until, and that's up to 7 days appeal after the judgment.
Just on a personal level, I very much liked Bangor City. They were a go-to team on Football Manager. Yeah. They had some really good young youth players that had come from being released at Swansea in the past. They had the likes of Daniel Nardiello only a few years back. So that's some really decent players. But
should we get into some good stories?
Let's finish on some positives.
So the Women's Super League, not Suka League, Super League, will now have its own platform on the BBC website and all of that. That's good. So they've got their own specific place to watch all highlights, etc. Some of the games are live actually on there as well, and obviously off the back of the Women's World Cup, I think they've really cashed in on that, which is good.
Also, don't forget, speaking of BBC doing their own platform, obviously the FA Cup starts this weekend. Obviously, there will be a game live on the BBC website.
Punjab United.
Punjab United. Yeah. So I forgot who they're playing.
There's quite a few Friday night, isn't there?
Quite a few Friday night, obviously because of ground shares and that. Who doesn't love FA Cup? Remember, it starts this weekend. Not in January.
I'm sure there'll be a cheap game local to you wherever you are.
Go and support your. If you're not going to an away game, like that's far away for you, go watch your local team.
Yeah. I've got to say I'm quite pleased you didn't dig me about the Hitchin thing there. Right, really quickly.
Well, it's a new season. It's a new season. You brought it back up.
Just really quickly. There was one final story I wanted to go through from Coleraine, not Coleraine, Coleraine in Northern Ireland. Obviously, the old manager on Kearney gone back, and he's been bold, made some signings, some good ones. But he signed former Derry County Gaelic footballer forward Emmett McGuckin, completely different sport, obviously. Yes. So he reinvented himself, played at the top level for Derry, which would be a fairly strong Gaelic football team, not the strongest, but still, thousands of people come to watch their games. He was at the top of his game, had enough of playing Gaelic football, decided to go to the bottom of the Irish sort of leagues, like what we would call Sunday morning football, but they do on a Saturday morning. Worked his way up. He was then playing for a team called Dergview, who are the league below Coleraine, and has now got a move, which was quite interesting. So he's gone from, I think he didn't stop playing Gaelic football till he was 26, and he's 29 now.
So that's your transfer of the summer.
Well, yeah, no, just in some ways, I'm not saying that the standard's necessarily that poor that you can go from one sport to another and go up there, but it's a good thing, a bit of inspiration.
And it is now time for a brand new quiz for a brand new season. And for the first time, I am the quiz master. I've done a few little things in episodes before, but this is the first time I'll be taking the reins.
We sort of decided that you won
I won the name the match.
Yeah, but he won the big quiz of the year.
Yeah, the big quiz. Yeah, but I can remember half of it.
I believe we called myself the European football aficionado.
So, what have you got for us?
This quiz for the season ahead will be called Can You Name Them? I'm
Can
going to give you a particular topic. It might be based on a recent event which is topical, such as this one, or it may just be based on a random event. Okay. And I'm going to ask you, can you name them?
Right.
We're going to play a bit similarly to Charlie's rules last year, sudden death until someone gets it wrong.
So sudden death.
And I have got a tiebreaker prepared for the rest of the season. I have ordered a selection of no less than 2,000 1990s and 2000 football trivia cards.
Just giving you a load.
And should we have any tiebreakers, those will be coming out.
Should we just stop the car?
And should they not have to come out in the first half of the season, I've got next year's quiz sorted.
Right, okay. So, just really quickly, does it need to be full names?
So I would like full names.
Okay.
Starting with relatively big ones this time. Depending on if we do get to lower league ones eventually, I might change that and let you get away with some names. So obviously last weekend was the Community Shield between Liverpool and Manchester City.
Didn't get to watch it.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to affect you in this one.
Thank God.
So before this weekend's game, Liverpool in the last decade hadn't featured in a Community Shield.
Right.
However, in the last decade, Manchester City have featured a few times.
Yeah.
And before Saturday's game this week, or Sunday's game, sorry, they had 6 different goal scorers in that 10 years.
In just the Community Shield?
Just the Community Shield games.
Right.
I can't remember.
Can you name any of the scorers? I would imagine this might be 0-0.
I got one.
So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I know one in my head.
I don't know if that's a fair way to do it. Would you like to go first, Charlie? Because we can toss a coin if we need to.
No, because the referee won't have that and he'd be suspended.
See, I think there's one that he's going to go for.
Look, we're going to toss a coin because we're having a very sad situation.
The people at home, obviously listen to this on YouTube, you won't know what coin was flipped, so I can
We're going to hear the call though, aren't we? I'm flipping a 1p coin. Craig, would you like to call?
Yeah, got him.
What would you like?
Tails, because it never fails.
Craig Savage, would you like to reveal? That is tails, and it doesn't ever fail.
It doesn't ever fail.
I think I could be out in the first question. Anyway.
I presume you'd like to go first, Craig?
I would like to go first.
And that might well win you this. So, Craig.
So, in the last decade?
In the last decade, excluding last weekend's game,
could you
name one of the other 6 goal scorers for Manchester City in Community Shield finals?
Okay, so let's start off with Edin Dzeko.
Craig Savage, that is absolutely correct. Well done.
Charlie Betts. There's an obvious one, but I don't know. I'm going to go.
I've got one in the bank.
I'm going to go Yaya Toure.
Charlie Betts, that is absolutely correct. Craig Savage, back to you.
So there's only 4 left then?
There's only 4 left.
Right.
I don't think you'll get all of them.
No.
I'm going to go for Carlos Tevez.
Craig Savage on the ball again.
Fucking hell.
2
I'm done now already.
I've got one in the pocket.
There's an obvious one, but I don't know whether it scored or...
I can't remember the other games now.
I'll go for the obvious one. Sergio Aguero.
Yes, and interestingly, the only man to score more than 1.
Oh, okay.
We've got 2 left, and I'm going to assume that we're not going to need the trivia cards here. Craig Savage, back to you. Head in hands.
I've got...
Jolyon Lescott.
Craig Savage, absolutely correct. That leaves just one man, and I'm not sure that Charlie's going to be able to
I think I know who it is, but I'm not sure.
Well, I can say out loud now, can't I?
You can go through your 4.
So I've got a few names, and this is pure on... I've never watched the Community Shield. So I've got a thing of David Silva.
Okay.
Raheem Sterling possibly, but I don't think he would have.
Okay, that's also a Manchester City name, well done.
But
so
I think
it's Joe Hart.
See, is it going to be someone random?
I think I know.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to press you for an answer,
right,
Charlie.
Okay.
Mainly to help you when you're editing.
Yeah, no. Okay, I'll tell you what.
Oh, I forgot to say cue the music.
I'm going to change it. I don't think you would have done, but just for the crack of it. Mario Balotelli.
I'm afraid, Charlie Betts, that's an incorrect answer. And as a result, Craig wins 3-2. And you can have a guess at the last one if you want.
Was it Samir Nasri?
It was Samir Nasri.
Ah!
Well done, Craig Savage.
Thank you.
You take a 1-0 lead.
Kiss the music!
Who did he score against? Do you remember?
I think it was Chelsea. at Villa
He
Park.
could have said that. It could have been anyone.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I think it's Chelsea at
That was
Villa
good
Park.
for
So much, well done for continuing your good form. I can assure you the next two are significantly harder.
I like that.
So you're going to have some difficulties in the next couple of weeks.
That was a good quiz. I mean, Craig has got his phone out, so I don't want to cause any sort of disruption and say that he cheated.
No,
I
didn't.
think he
pulled the full out.
No, I'm joking. No, fair play to you.
He was trying to sneak the answers beforehand.
No, I didn't see anything. And that is it for the first ramble of the season. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at HonestFootball3. The season's begun. We'll see you next week.